In my last episode of the West Country trip, I sailed across Lyme Bay, sometimes accompanied by dolphins. Went round Portland Bill in surprisingly calm conditions, and spent a couple of nights in Portland Harbour before setting off on the final trip back to the Solent and to Gosport.
It's almost dawn, 20 past 5 at the moment, and I'm motor sailing out of Portland Harbour on our way eastwards back to the Solent. Why, you might ask, am I out here so early? Well, A, I'm going to catch the tide, which will give me an extra 6 miles, so it'll save me an hour sailing, and B, in about 3 or 4 hours time the wind's going to change from what it is now, which is a nice northerly, to a southeasterly, and it's going to go all over the place. And the idea is to be outside of St Albans race by the time that happens, and then I should have a broad reach all the way across into the Solent. But the best laid plans of mice and men. But it's lovely out here. It's a bit nippy, but how about that for a view? We're being followed by another little sailing boat. He's way behind. He set off about the same time, and I don't know whether he's going round the bill or whether he's coming in our direction. But we're motor sailing at the moment. It's the only way to keep the speed up. There's not much wind yet, but there will be. This is going to be a grand sunrise. Look at that lovely red sky. And any minute now, you'll see the sun pop over the horizon. Here it comes, just coming over the top now. How about that then? Welcome golden orb that keeps us all alive. You can see why it was so mystical to people of long ago. It still is, really. Just look, it comes up quite quickly, doesn't it? Surprising. Anyway, looks like we're in for a nice day, weather-wise. Just that this wind is going to fill in and go from all the wrong directions unless I get myself in the right place at the right time. So that's why we're up so early. And I wish I wasn't, because I was quite tired and quite welcome staying in bed a bit longer. Anyway, good morning, sun. Good morning, everybody. Goodbye, Portland Harbour. That was a nice couple of nights in there. It's certainly a very distinctive place, and I'm glad I'm not going round the bill today, though it looks very benign, so I don't think anybody will have any problems. And the wind later on is going to be very favourable for crossing Lyme Bay. There's a bit of commercial shipping out here. I'm not quite sure what this is. It looks like it might be a tug, but I'm not sure. It's garage. I'm not sure. It's even not an anchor. I can't quite work it out.
Eventually the wind did fill in, and I stopped the engine and sailed most of the way to St Albans Head, when, as predict wind forecast, it dropped to nothing. It gradually filled in, but pretty much in the opposite direction.
Well, we're just about a beam of St Albans Head. You can just see the two little buildings on the top there. If I zoom in, maybe be able to see them. Two little bumps on the top. That's St Albans Head. Very difficult to discern it when you're alongside it. And then moving round to the right, that's Anvil Point. And the Isle of Wight is over there somewhere. Predict wind, got it about right actually. They did say that the wind would drop and we would be headed. So we're actually steering away from the Isle of Wight at the moment. I'll go and show you on the chart plotter. Right, here's the chart plotter. You can see the boat position. The green line is the course made good, and the red line is the boat's heading. We've got a fair bit of tide moving us from left to right, so that's why the green line is showing a more easterly course than the actual boat direction. This bit here is St Albans Head, Anvil Point, and this over here is the Isle of Wight. That's where we're heading through that gap there. So in a little while I'll be able to tack and just disappear off over there. The wind's very light at the moment, so I've got the engine running and I'm just waiting for it to fill in a little bit, and then hopefully we'll be able to get rid of the engine and have a glorious sail into the Solent. Here's hoping that the rest of predict wind forecast is as good as it's been up to now. We've tacked now. As you can see, the actual course is something like 035 that we're steering, but with the tide under us, the course made good is 048, which pretty much takes us into the Solent. Though looking from the deck, it appears that we're heading towards Christchurch, which is about here. And this is what it looks like up on deck. You can see Anvil Point, that's the dark bit, and behind it the white cliffs, Swanage and Old Harry. So we look as if we're heading for Papool at the moment. As you can see, nobody on the helm, the good old autopilot's doing it all for us at the moment. Well, this is most enjoyable. We've got 16 to 17 knots of wind, very, very flat sea. Such a joy after the trip across Lyme Bay. That's Old Harry Rocks down there. Just zoom in a bit so you can see them. Old Harry Rocks just off Poole. We're just past Anvil Point and we're now heading the Isle of Wight, which is away in the distance there. We're actually heading for the Needles buoy. That's what the chart plot is set to take us to, and we're doing over the ground 7 knots, which is very acceptable, thank you very much. It's lovely, and the sun's starting to come out again, which is really nice, and looks like we might well be in Gosport by tonight. Surprisingly lumpy, because out at Anvil Point it was quite calm, but it's certainly a bit lumpy out here at the moment. We're looking straight down the channel at the moment. You see the two buoys, the port and starboard buoys, and we're heading pretty much straight down the middle at the moment. The autopilot's doing a fine job. Nearly there, that's the channel, the Needles channel. There's the red port hand buoy, and I'll show you a bit better in a minute. The lighthouse is over to starboard. Not very obvious at the moment. You could do with a coat of paint by the look of it. We managed to get a fair tide from Portland, but luck's run out now, and we've got a foul tide against us, and I don't think we're going to get around this red buoy. Might have to drop down tide of it and come up on the edge of the bank. I'm watching it very carefully, and we're not really making any progress, so we'll have to do that, I'm afraid. Foul tide all the way now to Gosport. Here's the channel marker, and you can see the tide on it there. So we're down tide of it now, so no chance of the tide carrying us onto the buoy. Lighthouse at the end of the promontory of Chalk, and that big hill up there is where all the photographers get when they take those iconic photographs of around the island race and things like that. Lots of boats going past here. There's a better shot of the lighthouse. We're making quite a good way through the water here, but we're not going very fast over the ground. There's quite a strong current coming out at the moment. The coloured area to the left of the lighthouse and the left of that power boat is Alban Bay. That's where all the coloured sand comes from. You can I'm not sure whether you can actually physically go and collect it now, but you certainly used to be able to, but you can certainly buy it there. There's a gift shop, and they put all the different colours in a glass tube for you. So that's Alban Bay. Well, we're almost down to Hurst Castle and the entrance to the Solent. I've kept right close to the shore. I'm in about 20 feet of water here, and as a result I've managed to cheat the tide. It's running really quite hard out in the middle, but there's even eddies going in my direction close inshore, so it's worked really, really well. It's very, very windy on occasions, some huge gusts. Again from the other side of the channel this time though, and it's running quite hard in the middle, but we're still scraping along the sides and getting where we need to be. There goes the lifeboat. I think they're on their way out to the guy who I think's got stuck on the bank out there, the sailing boat. That's them disappearing off in that general direction anyway.
As I was sailing close inshore to cheat the tide, I saw a sailing boat trying to do the same, but on the other side of the channel. As you can see, there are two very shallow areas, and I think he touched one of those. With a rapidly falling tide, it would take a minute or two at most before you'd be stuck fast. It happens quite often, and boats have sunk. Hopefully the lifeboat will be able to tow him clear. We continued on our way, sailing close inshore to cheat the tide, though I did take a hit crossing across the North Shore by Lymington. But once over there, in the shallow water, made good progress against the slack tide, up to the mouth of the Bewley River and Leap. But when we got there, we got headed by a wind shift, so reluctantly I started the engine as we headed past Cowes.
Cowes, almost back, and I want to cross this shipping lane to go to Gosport, which is over there. However, there's this great big boat coming. great big boat coming along with what looks like a pilot launch, so I've just hove to. I've just knocked the engine out of gear and I'll wait for him to go by. Really tired. I started at 5 this morning, it's now nearly 5 o'clock, and I just want to get back to Gosport and get the boat back on its marina and have a shower and all sorts of good stuff like that. Point. We're just about to go into the entrance to Portsmouth Harbour. It's a bit rough, but it always is here. It's always a bit lumpy. We've got an easterly wind which doesn't help. It's been a bit of a bash all the way from Cowes. Quite pleased to see the beacon or the pile or whatever you want to call it. Don't sail the other side of it because you go aground. And here's Portsmouth Harbour opening up with the tower and everything else. Soon we hope. Portsmouth Harbour, and just about to go into the Royal Clarence Marina, which is just round the corner behind this big fuel boat. This spends quite a lot of time here. That engine is running all the time. You fancy an aircraft carrier? There's a couple over there. About the biggest ships that we've got in the Navy now. And here's the entrance to the Royal Clarence Marina. It's fairly low water at the moment, so we'll have to stay well clear of the green piles. Because the mud extends beyond them, and I have seen at least one person aground.
So here's Zephyr IV safely back on her berth and looking none the worse for her adventure. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It's lovely to see your comments on the video, so keep them coming. I always reply, and it helps too if you like and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it increases my presence on YouTube and I get more views.